Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition. Now, here's your host, Reggie Flood.
We're getting it cranked up and going. It's the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White, and he's Reggie Flood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're in the building.
Yeah. Hope everybody made it through that Mardi Gras fun. All safe and sound. How was Mardi Gras for you, Flood?
Oh, man, it was beautiful. It was beautiful for me.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good time. Enjoyed the parades. Enjoyed the family and friends. So it was real good, man. Went to the Zulu Ball. Went to most of the big parades in Endymion and Bacchus. Saw the jukebox march in Zulu. So it was a good time, man.
All right, so I've been on a tour of Mardi Gras outside of New Orleans. All right, and this year was Plaquemine. They had the honor of being on the list in 2023. Now, last year I went to New Roads. That was my first one outside of the Baton Rouge. And I've been to Slidell. I went to a Mardi Gras parade in Slidell or Covington, whatever. I'm not going to include that in this list, though, for reasons. But when I looked to compare the two between Plaquemine and New Roads, and maybe it's the one that I went to because they said Plaquemine has two parades, right? I did the Sunday parade, but they said they had one on Saturday. So I hate to judge Plaquemine off this, but I will. I am. Now, the one that I went to in New Roads was a damn good time. All right, I thoroughly enjoyed it. The one
Did you go just the parade, or did you go to actual Mardi Gras Day?
I went actual Mardi Gras Day.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
But, it was just the fact of I felt the festivity. I felt it. Plaquemine, and I don't care. It just seemed like it was a parade. It didn't. I didn't.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't. Like most places where you feel the festivity. This just felt like a parade. And
Plaquemine is known for doing Mardi Gras, so
I didn't know. See, that's what I'm learning as I go.
Yeah, they're not known for doing Mardi Gras. They that's not a thing for them. Like, even with Baton Rouge has gotten more parades probably in the last 20 years. Baton Rouge used to only have like two parades. And then probably the last 15, 20 years, it's going up to, I think, 9 parades now that they have. But like Plaquemine, those areas, that New Roads was always known for kind of being the alternative if you were from South Louisiana to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. Like, Plaquemine is not known for having Mardi Gras.
So next year, I think what is going to be on my list, I'm either going to do, I've seen and heard about White Castle and their Mardi Gras. Now, from what I've seen, it looks like Mardi Gras. It looks like a good time. It doesn't look like just a parade and people just out. It looks like a good time. And maybe Karen Crow. I heard Karen Crow they do it nice and big in Karen Crow. So that's
Lafayette, Karen Crow, those areas, it's different, but they have tradition about doing a Mardi Gras.
I'm interested to see it. This is my question. See, I'm an outsider out of the state of Louisiana. So when you're from outside of the state, all you get beat down about is New Orleans, New Orleans, New Orleans, and more New Orleans. All right. So I done did New Orleans as many times as one could want when it comes to Mardi Gras. So now I'm interested because there's so many different traditions and different ways to do it. So the small towns interest me because I like a good small town because typically you can find some good food. And anybody know me, I follow the food, right? So New Roads, right now, you're number one on my list, even though I've only been to 2. New Roads and Plaquemine. But New Roads right now, small town Mardi Gras, you're number one on my list. So if New Roads listening, y'all number one on my list. Plaquemine, even though it's only 2, you still at the bottom of the list. I got to see what Karen Crow and White Castle and the rest of those places have. But I'm on a quest to go see what those places have to offer, Flood.
Yeah. Well, I've been to all those places. I'm gonna stick to New Orleans because You know, I've been doing New Orleans Mardi Gras now for the past 4 or 5 years, and I've seen it's been different every year.
Yeah.
It's something different. Even though we have a routine that we kind of follow, it's still something different every year.
I absolutely love the Zulu parade. I absolutely don't love that it's so early in the morning, but you just got to come with your mind made up and ready. That's all it is. You just got to be prepped and ready because it's going to be a day. Not just a little bit of fun. It's going to be a day. And
you got to be team no sleep when it comes to Zulu.
I'm talking about don't come out there with no negative attitudes. Don't come groggy. Don't come saying, it's too early. No, come like it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. You know, you secure your location, get you a little food, maybe get you a little libation in you.
A little.
And you know, and have you a good time. Zulu come rolling around. Zulu starts at 8 o'clock, approximately 8 o'clock.
By 8 o'clock, I'm sitting in the lawn chair like, I got to hear it a little too fast.
You got to pace yourself. You definitely have to pace yourself when it comes to Zulu.
You look back like anybody got some chicken or something? Y'all got some burgers or something?
We always eat some burgers and some chicken. You know how we do it. We always have burgers, chicken, hot dogs. You know, we compare because we come out prepared for the long haul. You know, this year we had a hot plate, did some breakfast, did some burgers, did some hot dogs and stuff. You know, we had turkey necks and corn. So we know we had it. We did it well this year.
The food alone will wear you out if it ain't the libations. The food. All right. Let's get ready to take a break. Huh?
All right, go ahead. Let's take this break.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll keep it going. All right, y'all. Let's pay some bills. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Care South is now providing COVID-19 drive-through community testing at their Baton Rouge clinic. Testing is available for anyone with or without symptoms and no doctor's order required. No insurance? Care South will cover the cost. Care South is a federally qualified health center providing comprehensive medical, dental, and behavioral health services, offering telehealth services and an in-house pharmacy. Satellite clinics in Donaldsonville, Plaquemine, and Zachary. At Care South, we're here for you. Care South. Family serving.
It's the Jaguar Journal. We're back. Talking about Mardi Gras across the South. Flood say nobody does it like New Orleans. Flood, you ever done Mobile Mardi Gras?
Yes, I've done Mobile.
Talk to me about it, because you know the people in Mobile, would they have a Joe Cane Day?
Just say that again.
I said the people in Mobile, I believe they have a Joe Cane Day or something. It's supposed to be pretty turned up over there in Mobile.
Yeah, I mean, Mobile they do a nice Mardi Gras. It's a little bit different. They pass out groceries at Mardi Gras. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I saw that. They were throwing like bacon and just all type of stuff, handing out TVs. I don't
pies, all kind of stuff. Yeah, they do it a little different. They do it a little different. You know, they claim. Sorry, I'm breaking up on y'all. They claim to be the first Mardi Gras.
That's what they say.
They say, but I think that myth has been dispelled by a little research and history. But let them; they have their thing. It's good, you know. And I tell you, I'm definitely not going to get into the debate between New Orleans and Mobile. But
do people really debate about that?
Oh yeah, that's a debate.
Yeah, I just
like, you know, New Orleans. There's literally a sign that says, you know, you better have your attitude right when you come to New Orleans, else we'll send you to Mobile. Yeah.
That's saying a whole lot. That's saying that maybe I'm gonna send you somewhere where they're not having such a good time, right?
Yeah, Mobile has, you know, they have their fun, they enjoy themselves, and you know, it's different, but it's nice. So
yeah. And it's interesting when you see people try to recreate Mardi Gras in other places. I saw some pictures of people in St. Louis recreating Mardi Gras. I saw, you know, of course, we always see what happens in D.C. When all the political heads and figures come together and do a big Mardi Gras theme ball over in D.C. You ever been to that one?
No, but I do plan on going. I haven't been to the D.C. Mardi Gras that's done by the Louisiana Congressional delegation. So I do plan on attending that Mardi Gras.
It looks like a good time.
Oh, I've heard it's a really good time. I mean, DC is a good time in itself. So I mean, you know.
Yeah, man.
You add the aspect of Louisiana folks who know how to party, especially Southern Louisiana folks, into DC. So it's usually a pretty good time, from what I understand.
Are you a king cake eater?
I will eat it, but not on the regular. You know, like I just kind of go through tradition, maybe have a slice or two across through the period, but I'm not like I gotta have a king cake, you know.
Perry White story time right here. First time I had a king cake when I moved here, and I was scarred by it because I didn't understand what it meant, but now I do. But it shouldn't have been the first time that I ever had a king cake that this happened. They cut me a slice, I bit into it, and I bit into something hard. I spit it back out on my plate, and it was a little baby in it. And so at the time, I didn't understand what that meant, but I was just disgusted at the fact that nobody told me that there was going to be a little baby inside of my king cake and that there's a possibility that might happen. I didn't know what happened, so it kind of it grossed me out after that.
Yeah, they didn't tell you the story about the baby, and if you get the baby, you have to buy the next king cake, huh?
And I was like, to hell with a king cake after. There was no reason I should have been into a king cake and found a little baby balled up. And I thought something bad had happened. Then when I spit it out and I was explaining, they was like, oh, it's this, and that. But you should have told me that before. My first encounter should not have been biting into that and then having that in there. So ever since then, I'm kind of over king cake. I'll try, if I'm at a function or event, they got king cake, I eat it, but I'm real hesitant. I'm shocked. I'm shell shocked. Because now every time I think I bite into it, it's going to be that little hard, crunchy baby. in the middle. So I'm kind of over that now. It's just
Yeah. They definitely should have told you what the tradition was, and before you go biting into the king cake. I always break mine apart before I eat it.
Well, I didn't know. Now I know, and that's just not the way you want to be introduced to something, right?
No,
yeah,
no, definitely not. I can see why that would traumatize you.
They're like the same way I had crawfish the first time, like really eating crawfish, and I peeled that sucker and the juice squirted all over. I had a white, as they say, Ralph Lauren. I had a white Ralph Lauren shirt, and it just, and you can't get that stain out. Listen, I don't know.
Nah, you just gonna have a yellow-orange stain on your white Ralph Lauren.
My Ralph Lauren.
That's Ralph Lauren for you people who need to translate it. But
yeah, get a little fancy with you. It ain't the polo, it's Ralph Lauren, okay? But yeah, it's just certain things that I enjoy. And I know we're gonna move on. I'm just so caught up into the Louisiana culture. They told me when I got here there was nothing like crawfish and a Delaware punch. Are you a Delaware punch drinker?
Oh yeah, you gotta have a little Delaware punch, man. You gotta have a little. Sometimes it can be hard to find, but if you find it, gotta have a little Delaware punch, man. It goes just right with something spicy. Just the right amount of sweetness, not carbonated, so you don't get that bitter taste. Just right, Delaware punch, gotta have it.
I'm loving this conversation this morning as we talk about Louisiana and its ways. Is gumbo season over with? Is it too hot for gumbo?
It can be. I mean, because unless we have another temperature drop off really soon, then I guess you could say it's over with. For some people, they just pop up, and cook or do a pot of gumbo just because, but I guess you could say it's over with. I guess it's in the eye of the beholder.
I know for sure it's crawfish season, right? Woo!
Well, it seems like crawfish season now just as early as crawfish. People have been getting crawfish since December now. So, it used to be crawfish season would kick off right around Mardi Gras, right after Easter, Lent season, go strong during the Lenten season. But now, crawfish seems like it's year round now.
Are we putting a strain on the crawfish market because the people in there just hunger to tear up pounds and pounds of crawfish?
Well, I think because of and it seems like when they start coming out of December and January, they're awfully small, and I think you have a lot of farm-raised catfish on the market. So I don't know if it's a strain on it. It doesn't seem to be a strain, but we know that crawfish get larger and better around March, April, that time of year.
Yeah, I want them baby lobsters. Give me them baby lobsters. That's what I want right there. Don't give me them little bitty nail-biting crawfish. That's what ticked me off. You paying all that. I won't get into it. You pay all of that money for them pounds to eat that little bitty meat, and you throwing all them pounds away. And I don't do all that sucking the heads and the claws and all that. I know some people, it's a delicacy, but for me, I'm just like, you got it, dog. Just I'll hold up and wait on the big ones. All right. So I guess as the season go on around next month, they may start to get a little bit bigger.
Oh yeah, they definitely, like, you go now and get them, and they're definitely bigger than they were, December, January. So they're around the right size now. Probably for about another 2 or 3 weeks, you'll see the larger, or to a month through March, you'll see the larger crawfish. So yeah, they definitely have gotten bigger.
And people boil them things to make me have like I got a cold while I'm eating them with a runny nose. I don't like them that spicy. Don't give me nothing that's just gonna choke me out. Nose running. I can't rub my nose with them spices on my fingers. We're gonna have a problem here.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like mine. I like mine seasoned, not too spicy.
Mike
I like mine seasoned, but not overly spicy. You can't get the taste of it.
Yeah, what you say, Mike? What? He eating them right now, huh?
If you're not crying, if your nose not running, you're not eating right. Not even spicy, because it's not that much meat, so it's not like you're not gonna get full fast. So why not cry during it?
Nah, spoken like a Raider fan.
All right, man, let's get ready to go to break. That's enough of this Louisiana stuff, man. I love the culture, though. That's obviously what got me in the chokehold and can't go anywhere. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Legacy Bowl. Our man, All Script, going to join the show, talk to us about some of the skill positions and the one-on-ones that's been going on down in New Orleans for a big game today, and Flood will explain more about the Legacy Bowl. All right, so y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal. Took it all the way back with that one, Mike. Nelly. All right, it's Jaguar Journal. I wasn't expecting that one. All right, I'm ready. He's Reggie Flood. I'm Perry White. You got me threw off. I was finna call myself Nelly and the St. Lunatics because of you, man. All right, let's jump right into it. We got my man. Hey, he's no stranger to the show. My man, Off Script. Good morning.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Scottay.
Good morning, man.
Good morning. Good morning. Scottay.
I be wanting to do because I used to watch wrestling. Scotty Too Hottie. Remember that?
Oh, that's my guy right there.
Yeah, D-Generation X right there. All right, fellas. Flood, let's first jump into it, man. We got the Legacy Bowl this weekend down in New Orleans, and this is a highlight game, basically an all-star game for HBCU football players around the nation. Flood, tell us more about this game.
Oh, Legacy Bowl. It's the second annual Legacy Bowl. It was created by Doug Williams and James Shaq Harris, along with the NFL, to put the spotlight on HBCU players who are draft eligible and possible NFL prospects. They have a combine that goes along with it, where they get to showcase players. I think this year about 45 players participated in the combine. They have a career fair that is huge, where they bring in college students who aren't necessarily athletes. They're just regular college students. They get to put their resumes in and meet with over 100 companies here in New Orleans and put their best foot forward and maybe get some opportunities to get some employment, because you're going to be a professional in life much longer than you're going to play professional football. But it's not just for athletes. Like I said, it's for career-minded students. So that's a great thing. And they have all kind of seminars and events, and it's a well-put-together event. It's a good time. The players get treated really nice. Southern has, I think, 6 guys on the team. It has quite a Southern flavor in the coaching staff with Coach Eric Dooley and Coach Chennis Berry being the 2 head coaches and their staffs working with them. And on the other side, Trey Oliver, Southern's former defensive coordinator and the head coach at North Carolina Central, being one of the head coaches on the other side. So it's a great event. Like I said, well organized, a great opportunity for the student athletes to get their name out there and get in front of pro scouts because it's an NFL event. It's broadcast on the NFL Network. Today, kickoff is at 3:05, but they also get to showcase themselves in front of the XFL, the USFL, and Canada and Canadian League. So I love it. I've had a good time. I think it's a great event, and I encourage everybody to come out and attend today.
And Scotty, you've been able to check out the individual workouts of these guys, man. Tell us what you've seen and how this has been going for you since Wednesday.
Man, it's been. I'm gonna just piggyback off what Unc said. It's been a great experience, man. It's been an A1. Tulane has treated these boys really well. Trainers on site, water boys, water girls, all type of stuff. But individually, the players, if I'm being really honest, I think Team Gaither has taken it more seriously. Coach Trey Oliver every day ends the practice with a speech. They come out, they're super structured. It's like if you're watching NCCU. Like that's what it really feels like. It's like it's his team. They're super structured. They're super focused. I mean, it's not a lot of laughing. It's not a lot of downtime. Everything is structured by the minute. Team Robinson, I think they're a little more talented team, but they feel like they act like they're the more talented team. It's a lot of laughing, a lot of laissez-faire. The energy is high. They're very competitive, but if I'm being honest, I think Team Gaither's a lot more structured. But overall, the individual plays, quarterback has been shaky for both teams. I think Robinson has the better group of quarterbacks. Gaither's going to go with Jakari Grant. I think Jalen Fowler had a better week, but, that's just what it is. My standout for both teams is Xavier Smith. Man, listen, he is unguardable. Like
wide receiver from Florida A&M.
Wide receiver, man, he is I don't care what team you put him on. Nobody can guard it. And we're talking about Team Robinson has pros, drafted pros, Nugget, Estes, Keenan Isaac. These guys are drafted USFL guys. Can't hold a candle to this boy. Like Xavier Smith has been putting on an absolute show. A couple other standouts that is Isaiah Williams from Team Gaither, Delaware State DN, super versatile, can play over the center, have him at D tackle, DN, wreck and shop. I talked to Trey Oliver. He said that he thinks the secret weapon is Josh Pryor, Bowie State D lineman, 6'5", 255. He says he thinks that he's unblockable. For Team Robinson, Cam Peterson, man, listen.
Southern University.
Oh, my God. This dude is a grown man. And he reminds me, I don't know if Unc remembers this guy, David Irving from the Dallas Cowboys. He could play. We used to play him everywhere. DN, D tackle, over the center. When we would bring in DeMarcus Lawrence, we would move him, we would kick him inside and stuff like that. So he reminds me of he reminds me a lot of David Irving. Same build, real long guy, can push the pocket in the front if you want him, can rush DN if you need him to do that. He's been amazing. A lot of teams have been talking to him, and there's just so many kids on the Robinson team that have just been like, wow, they're just super. Jordan Nelson, I apologize, from Alabama State DN. He just had an amazing week. I mean, so it's just one name after the other. But if I had to put my money on something, I would put my money on Team Gaither just because I feel like they're more of a team than Team Robinson is. I'm not saying that there's been bickering or fighting. It just seems like they're more cohesive in it's one mission It reminds me of what the MEAC does in the SWAC champion. I mean, in the Celebration Bowl, where all the MEAC coaches come together and try to plan to get like how they did against Dion. Like, I feel like this is the same kind of mentality. Like, all the players are just like, yo, let's just win this game, and I think that's what it's about.
We talk about the Southern guys because a lot of people want to keep up with the Southern guys, but one of the guys that made into this team is Bubba McDaniel, Glendon McDaniel from Southern at the quarterback position. How has he looked to you so far out there?
I think he's been the second best quarterback, if I'm being honest. If I had to rank him, it would go Larry Harrington from Langston University, NAIA, Bubba McDaniel, and then Skylar Perry. That's how I would do it. Bubba, his first day was a little rough. Missed some easy throws that I've seen him make, especially against the Jackson State game. But day 2, he looked really sharp. Day 3, he came out for the walkthrough, was super focused, working on his movement, working on his pocket presence, just working on his form and technique and things like that. I think he will be the second guy to go after Larry from the NAIA, and then some other Southern guys. Dumas has looked really good. Day 1, he looked a little rusty, but still looks like the Dumas of old. Talked to him, he said he's fully healthy. He's felt the best he felt all year. So he said he's going to put on the show.
A lot of people are interested in Jordan Lewis. He's, dealt with injuries over the past couple seasons. Has he looked healthy out there?
No, he hasn't looked like himself. If I'm being honest, like when I would see him, and I'm like, who's 32? And they were like, that's Jordan Lewis. And I'm like, he doesn't look like Jordan Lewis. He didn't look like that spring season, like where the speed, the athleticism just overwhelmed you. Like, man, this kid he can do anything. He just looks like he's I don't know if anybody's ever had a hamstring injury. Like, they always say it's like a ticking time bomb. It's like a tick. Like, people can feel when it's about to go. I think that's how Jordan is. I think he's just so mentally stuck on the injury that I don't know if he's really 100% a go. He doesn't look like either he's trying to play himself into shape, or he's just really worried about the injury. I didn't get a chance to talk to him because they were always going with the scouts and having interviews and things like that. But from my couple of days there, he just didn't look like the Jordan Lewis of the spring. The defensive player of the year, he didn't look like that.
3 former Southern University coaches. Well, you got one current in Eric Dooley, but then Chennis Berry, who was the offensive coordinator, Trey Oliver, who was the defensive coordinator. All 3 guys now are head coaches. But you see Trey Oliver with his team, but Chennis Berry and Eric Dooley working together. What does that look like, especially 2 guys that with offensive side of the ball?
Listen, I see why, and I see why Chennis Berry was undefeated. If anybody's been around him, he is a motivator. Like, and Unc was at the press conference, and he could tell you, man, he really set the stage, and you're like, dang, I really got to follow that up, like, because it was so good. Like, you literally could have stopped the press conference right there and just be like, all right, cool, like, we're here for the Legacy Bowl. Like,
yeah, I remember. I remember thinking when they got ready to have speeches at the press conference, and I remember thinking, Coach Dooley does not want to follow Chennis Berry. He should go first. I remember thinking that in my head because I know, the kind of speaker Chennis is and the kind of motivational guy he is. So I was thinking to myself, Coach Dooley might want to go first and not follow Chennis. But Chennis is definitely, Coach Berry is as advertised. He's a motivator. He's a recruiter. He's a pretty good X's and O's guy too. So I wasn't surprised by that. But from what I've heard behind the scenes, both coaching staffs, it's been a lot of talking between the two. So it's some bragging right there.
Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely, yeah. This is, and it's not, it's not a bad. It's really like we here to win. You know what I'm saying? And
it's fun.
They're competitors. They're competitors.
Hey, talk to me. We talk about the SWAC guys, but what about some MEAC guys that's holding it down over there?
Man, listen. I know a lot of people wouldn't know a lot of these names because they don't see them, but I love the Howard receiver Antoine Murray. Like, he is a great route runner. Absolutely great route runner. Another guy that Scott's have been really raving about is the running back from Edward Waters, Tyler King. Super explosive guy. He was a drop down from a Power 5 conference, went to Edward Waters. They've been talking a lot about him. And Robert Mitchell from NCCU, we already know, but has had an amazing week just playing guard, playing center sometimes. But just he's been doing well defensively. Listen, it's one guy for me, just Jason Bryant from Tennessee State. Man, listen, number 11, he plays middle linebacker. He's cold. The kid is absolutely amazing. Like, when you see him in one-on-one, you think, like, he's not that guy. But, you know, running backs have so much space, have so much room, two-way goes. But when you put him in teams and you put him in a team drill and he knows he got linebackers on both sides of him, man, listen, nothing going up that gut without Jason being there. So, number 11, Jason Bryant, absolutely love it. And I think my standout for the week is Isaiah Williams, Delaware State DN. Like, he has really, really done really well. And a SWAC guy that is actually on this team, Robert Gaddy, Alabama State, doing really well, 6'3", 260, 275. I don't know if you guys seen the video clip. He actually did a backflip after practice, but has had a wonderful day as well. I mean, had a wonderful week as well. So it's been some guys.
I saw that.
It's been some guys. Yeah.
Flood, for you and your evaluation of how this thing has been going from year one to year two, have you seen it getting better over this process?
I think that, first of all, the event is so well organized and so well put together. But I think they're adding more things to it. They're kind of perfecting and polishing up the process and how they treat players today. I mean, in this week, they made some logistical changes that they had to make because Mardi Gras was going on earlier in the week. So they had the players out at the Saints facility doing the combine on Monday and, and taking them through their paces Monday and Tuesday while Mardi Gras was going on. We know how hard that can be.
Woo.
And then, bringing them down to Tulane on Wednesday and getting them outside for practice. This thing is run really well, and I have to give shouts out to Coach Price and Coach George from up in Grambling. They're the equipment managers, and man, they run this thing and make sure the guys have all of their things. Tulane for staffing, and there are a lot of the HBCU staff people who come down, the equipment managers and trainers and stuff who are also working with this. So, it's a well organized, well run event. Quentin Thomas, who's the ops person, we know Q has it going well. Everything is on time. They keep it on track. They feed them well. They get a lot of swag that they get to keep. Like, they literally get to keep everything from helmets to jerseys to shoulder pads, everything. Yeah. So they don't turn anything back in. Whatever they get to keep. So,
Patrick Mahomes being the big guy last year, I'm looking at my phone saying yesterday, Patrick Mahomes being the big NFL guy last year at this game. Any word of who's going to be around this year?
I know Jameis Winston is supposed to be on site. Teron Armstead is supposed to be on site. Those are the only two big-name guys that I know for sure. I mean, Patrick Mahomes' foundation is a part of this as well. So it wouldn't be surprising if he was here. But I want to give you this tidbit. Special teams. Listen, Gator, they don't got no thing. Listen, they ain't got no kicker, bro. I'm just keeping it a buck with you. That boy has missed more practice field goals than I. And I'm talking about, like, if you play golf, I'm talking about like flop shots. Like, they just go straight up in the air and they come straight down. Like,
sound like me at Topgolf.
Man, listen, it is. If I'm a Team Gator fan, I would just be like, don't let this game come down to a field goal, because what Team Robinson has, they have All-Americans, and I'm not talking about like SWAC All-Americans. I'm talking about like the best in the nation. Romeo Martinez and Chris Fadul are those guys. I'm talking about like USFL guys are drooling like over these two dudes. Like, they keep them after practice late to make them kick kicks and stuff like that. I'm talking about like legit pros. And Romeo Martinez has been kicking that thing in the end zone at least 3 or 4 times in practice. You know what I'm saying? So just be mindful of special teams, because we know how, like, you don't think about it, but it always comes back to bite you when you need it. And that kicker been missing. I'm just gonna let you know that.
Yeah, I saw that a couple of days I was out there. He had a good camp.
I hate that for the kid. Let me ask you this: someone sent me a message about the wide receiver from Alcorn, CJ. How's he looked out there?
I think CJ's a gamer. I don't think, some people are just not practice guys, and CJ comes off as not a practice guy, because if you look at his tape, you're like, man, this kid is amazing. But watching him in practice, he just doesn't come off as a practice guy. Like, he doesn't flash, if I'm being honest. He doesn't really flash. So I think I'm hoping to see him flash more in the game. But the two receivers that really flashed to me this week was Ja'Cory Rankin and Zay for Team Robinson. Those two, that's 1 and 2. Like, everybody else is playing for third. It's 1 and 2 with them two, and they're the two shortest guys. You know what I'm saying? Ja'Cory Rankin is about 5'8", jumped to 39 vert. You know what I'm saying? You know what Zay is, 4.38 speed. So those two guys, and it's sad, like the two smallest guys are the two biggest showers, but that's what's been going on.
That's typically how I go with that chip on the shoulder. The game today on NFL Network, you guys be able to check it out. It's the Legacy Bowl. It's going to be some great football guys from all around the nation. HBCU guys will be on full display. Scotty, you're down there in New Orleans. You'll be headed out this weekend. You found anywhere good to eat? You typically miss when you're in New Orleans when it comes to food. Flood, this man went down there doing Bayou Classic and went to go eat Chinese food in New Orleans.
No, I was walking. Listen, he don't want to tell you the whole story. We were walking to the stadium, and we were just hungry. So he's like, hey, let's just stop right here and get some Chinese food just so we can eat something before we go to the Battle of the Bands. That's why we got Chinese food. But we typically be looking for it.
I'm just saying.
We went of course, you go to Neo's. We went to Neo's. We never been to, Drago's? We went to Drago's. That's overrated. Yeah, we went to a hamburger and seafood place. That was pretty good. My favorite was my favorite place was Melba's, and the place we went to breakfast, babe. Surrey's. It was like a juice bar, and it was really good. So those are my two favorite places. Melba's. I love Melba's. I can go Melba's every day if I could. So
check out Morrow's and Mondays.
Morrow's and Mondays. All right, we're gonna probably hit that up. I think.
The very first time we came.
Oh yeah, they did have a good gumbo. Yeah, that was some good gumbo. Yeah, all right, gumbo. I ain't gonna. But Neo's is good. Neo's is really good. I love Neo's. I love me some Neo's. But we're gonna try some days. But yeah, man. So listen, man. Let's be real. I don't want to be, but the streets here in New Orleans. Oh man, Lord have mercy. You got to bring a rail car. You can't. There's no way you should be driving your own vehicle around in New Orleans.
You're supposed to walk,
you gotta
man.
dodge the potholes, baby. Keep you on your toes. Keep your dexterity going. Keep your reflexes working, baby. Dodge the potholes.
Listen, boy. Listen. If you get your license in New Orleans, you can drive because there's just too much stuff going on.
I hate for you to be walking and you sprain your ankle in one of them potholes, man. I don't want that to happen.
Oh, my goodness. Man. And then most of the lights ain't working in the French Quarter because that's when we're in the French Quarter. Most of the lights is off. I'm like, yo, what is going on out
man,
here?
Get off of New Orleans, man. You're supposed to be up here. You're supposed to talk about how great everything has been, man. No, I'm just messing.
It's super friendly, super nice. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Yeah.
Great food, the culture. Yeah. The streets was clean when you got here, huh? Did you get the post Mardi Gras?
Yeah, absolutely. I got here Wednesday. I ain't see nothing crazy.
Yeah, no bees on the ground or nothing, huh?
No, I was like, dang, that's quick.
Like, you got to look in the trees, man. Because nothing's going to be on the ground. You got to look at the trees.
Trees and power lines. Like, what the hell happened around here the other day? Yeah, that's what the remnants of Mardi Gras is. Shout out to the sanitation people down in New Orleans, the way that they clean that city up. Man, I watched some videos. There's some amazing things, how they clean that city up so fast and so quick. But they get it done, and you wouldn't even be able to tell the way that they clean everything up. So, hey, Scotty, man, thank you for coming on this morning, man. We appreciate for having us, and you're sounding like a journalist this morning, man. You sounding like a journalist.
All right, appreciate you, Perry. Appreciate you,
All right, have a good one now.
All right, that was my man off script. All right, we got to get at the top of the hour. We got to get ready to pay some bills. We come back, we'll talk about some SWAC basketball because things are getting interesting in the basketball. We got to, Flood, yes. And you're going to sit there and you're going to listen. And, Chris, you're going to hear these numbers, too. You're going to sit there and turn your radio up, and you're going to listen, too. And everybody else is going to listen, all right? And let's pay some bills. We'll be right back, all right? More the Jaguar Journal.
jiggy with it.
Top of the hour, we're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. He's Reggie Flood. I'm Perry White.
Yes, sir.
I was disgusted at that last news announcement. I hope y'all washing y'all hands. Did you hear what he was talking about, Flood?
Hey, I caught a part of it. I didn't catch all of it.
The neurovirus up there in Kansas said them people not washing their hands, man.
Yeah, you got to wash your hands, man. You got to wash your hands.
All right, let's keep it going. SWAC basketball on the women's side. Hey, Flood, this one just specifically for you, my buddy. Southern women taking on Grambling last week. Of course, one game during that weekend, Southern and Grambling, the women's side. Women going on the road, getting a victory over Grambling, 54-50 in this ball game. All right, Chris, where you at?
Man, I got to ask you before you get into that, man.
What's up?
How was Utah?
I didn't go to Utah.
You didn't make it? Okay,
Yeah,
you didn't go.
I'm Mardi Gras. You know, Utah,
That's right,
Mardi
that's
Gras.
right.
Luckily, the NBA All-Star has been in New Orleans before. Hey, been there, done that. All right. Not finna leave the South to go to the cold. I'm just sorry. I'm not doing that. I can't do it. Now, if it was somewhere like Miami or somewhere, you got me. You got me anywhere good weather, but don't take me from the South where the weather is already kind of cold going into warm to go where possible snow. Perry gonna stand right where he is.
I feel you on that.
You feel me, man? And it was Mardi Gras season. Yeah. Mardi Gras NBA All-Star, Mardi Gras NBA. I'm going Mardi Gras. I know people may say I'm crazy, but I did the All-Star before. Shout out to New Orleans for hosting it before. A couple times, actually, since I've been here. Southern women getting the victory. 54-50 over Grambling. Chris, turn your radio up. Southern women shot 23 of 49, shooting 46%. 4 of 9 from the three-point line, shooting 44%. 4 of 9 from the free throw line. Only 9 free throws in this ball game for 44% for the women of Grambling State basketball. 19 of 50, shooting 38%. 2 of 12 from the three-point line. Woo. 16%. 10 of 18 from the free throw line, shooting 55%. Southern's largest lead in that ball game was by 6. The Jaguars, the women's side, get the victory 54-50. Other scores around last Saturday, Jackson State winning big against Alcorn 81-49. Coach Tamika Reed has them still rolling. Prairie View, Sandy Pugh getting the victory over Pine Bluff 78-68. Alabama A&M 50, Bethune-Cookman 48. Texas Southern women, big victory at home against Mississippi Valley State 72-36. And Alabama State 65, Florida A&M 54. And on Monday night, of course, women for Southern did not play, but we keep it rolling. Prairie View kept it rolling as well. Sandy Pugh, Prairie View 72, Mississippi Valley 51, Alabama A&M 77, FAMU 65, Alabama State in overtime, 3 of them to be exact, 74, Bethune-Cookman 71, and Pine Bluff getting back on track, a big 30-point victory on the women's side, 83-53 against Texas Southern. Man, you look at the women's standings, and it's going to be something special for you. All right, Jackson State, of course. You already know at the top of the way, 13-1. Coach Tamika Reed is rolling. That one loss still on the season is to Sandy Pugh and Prairie View. Right behind them, tied in second place, is both the Alabama schools, Alabama A&M and Alabama State, both at 11-4. Right behind them is the lady I just got through talking about, Sandy Pugh and Prairie View, 10-5. And then you have Southern right there behind Prairie View. So, it's going to be some down-to-the-wire basketball as we get towards the end of the season. Bethune-Cookman right there behind Southern at 9-6. UAPB at 8-7, and then below 500, you got Alcorn and Grambling both at 6-8. Florida A&M 3-12. Texas Southern 2-13. Mississippi Valley 0-15. Man, Southern's women going to have to try to fight, Flood, if they're trying to get some of that top 4 spot.
Yeah, they're going to have to get in there and fight, man, to try to get that top 4 spot. They've had some opportunities that they let slip away, but they're going to have to close out the season strong and see where the chips fall, man.
Games around the conference today. Southern taking on Bethune-Cookman on the women's side. Tip-off at 12:30 today. Grambling and FAMU, Prairie View and Alcorn State. Texas Southern and Jackson State. Both Alabamas playing each other today. Should be a showdown on the women's side as they're both tied for second place. I will put that and circle it as the game of the day. When you look at Alabama A&M, Alabama State, the rivalry and second place in the SWAC women's standing on the line, that should be a good one. 3:30 tip-off for that one over in Alabama. And Pine Bluff and Mississippi Valley tip-off at 4 o'clock Monday. Southern takes on FAMU on the women's side, Grambling and Bethune-Cookman. Prairie View and Jackson State, part 2 should be a good one. This time, that's going to be up in Jackson. I will circle that if you're looking for a women's game to watch on Monday. Prairie View and Jackson State. Prairie View being the only team to defeat Jackson State this year in conference play. That should be a good one. Let's see if Prairie View still has a hot hand against them. And Texas Southern taking on Alcorn State. That rounds it out for you. You looking at Southern's women? Are you looking like, are you scratching your head like, are we all right, or how you feeling, Flood?
I think they'll be all right. I think they should find a way. It's going to be a tough one on the road, but I think they'll find a way to close it out. If not, we'll see. But going up on that Florida swing, it's no joke. So
yeah, Bethune-Cookman's far, FAMU's far.
yes, yeah. That's a trip. That's 2 trips, man. That's a long way to go. Even from each other. When you get to Tallahassee, you still got a long way to go to get to Daytona. So, you just got to stay focused, and maybe that helps them stay focused and just keep your mind, no distractions. Just go out there and play ball out, and get you 2 games and come on home.
Hopefully so, man. Come on, Lady Jags, or Southern University women's basketball. For years I was calling them the Lady Jags basketball. So come on, Southern University women's basketball. I said it correct. Coach Funches, man, let's come back with 2-0 against those Florida schools, all right? We jump over to the men's side because it was short on the women's side. It'd be a little short on the men's side, but we got a lot more to talk about because Southern and Grambling, as you talked about earlier, when it took their talents to Utah, Salt Lake City to be exact, to play in the NBA HBCU Classic. And it was a classic game of what it was. This game went into overtime. Grambling, 69, Southern, 64. That's how. I'm no excitement about that score right there. Southern, to me, I felt like we had this one, but I'll go through the stats for you. As Southern fell short by 5 to Grambling in overtime. Southern shooting 21 to 68, shooting 30%. Chris, where you at? 3-point line. Southern shooting 10 to 29, shooting 34%. From the free throw line, 12 of 24, shooting 50%. Free throws really hurt Southern in this game, especially down the stretch. On the other side, for the Tigers of Grambling State, they shot 26 of 58, shooting 44%. 2 of 9 from the three-point line, shooting 22%, and 15 of 23 from the free throw line, shooting 65%. Grambling's largest lead in that game was 14. That was in the second half as Southern chipped away at that lead and battled back and came back to make this as a ball game. And, man, you talk about as many threes as they jacked up in those free throws, those hurt, especially when you don't shoot a good night. When you shoot 30% from the field, 34% from the three-point line, and just 50% from the free throw line, man, Southern had it in there. Gras fell short, 69-64. That game was televised on ESPN2. Flood, when you watched that game, what was your thoughts?
Live by the 3, die by the 3. Team, and we're seeing them do what they traditionally have done. They start out strong, or either they start out slow and they go in the middle of the season, they play strong, or they fade out. This year they started out strong, kind of got to the middle of the season, and we're seeing them fade again. So I don't know what the issue is or what needs to be fixed, but we've seen this script before. We've seen this movie before.
Let's go to the phone line. I think I know who it is. I called him out. Good morning. Is this Chris?
How y'all doing this morning, guys?
What's going on, Chris?
Talk to me.
I don't know it, man. Well, the thing of it is I'm just like Flood hit the nail on the head. Personally, my personal opinion, we don't get to the tournament this year in the big dance. I'm thinking it's sorry not to Coach Woods. I mean, you think about 50% from the free throw line and you lose by 5 points. 50% from the I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I talked to several people, and, free throw shooting is practicing. And, I looked at our best free throw shooter, 83%. P.J. Bird, he missed three in a row. So I know it happens and everything, but I just can't wrap my mind around it. I just can't. We just got beat to death in the middle. We had no answer for the inside guys of Grambling. And then, right before we got ready to go into overtime, P.J. Bird kicked out, and Williams got a good look, but he had an elbow jumper right there.
Yeah. I thought the
He had
three.
an elbow jumper right there.
I wouldn't have settled for that three.
You know, and I mean, you live like Flood say, you live by the three, you die by the three, but 50% from the free throw line.
Yeah,
and see,
that's a killer.
That's a killer. That's a killer, Flood. And my thing is, this is the way I would be looking at it as a coach. I would be looking at all the teams in the conference, and I'd be just starting with looking at their free throw percentage. And I would have to just drill into my guys. Look, guys, if we just shoot 75% as a team, we can turn our whole fortunes around. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You know,
yeah.
And
free throws is free. Literally, it's free.
You know what I'm saying, Flood? I mean, how does that happen? No distraction, no hand in the face, no trying to make a move, no handling the ball. Just sit there and put the ball through the basket. And like I said, you can look in the conference and you can say to your team, if we just shoot 75%, 70 to 75% consistently over the season, I'm telling you, we'll be champions. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't get how guys are not willing to put that kind of effort out. And I don't understand the recruiting, guys. I really don't. I don't understand the recruiting.
I've always felt like, Chris, that they weren't trying to build a program, that they were trying to win instantly instead of trying to actually build a program. And I think when you're in smaller schools and mid schools, you have to get guys they try to have some 4-year guys, at least some 3-year guys.
Right.
And bring in a few, mix in some transfers who might be come down or be coming up. But you have to build your foundation of your program on some 3- and 4-year guys.
Right.
I've always thought that they had the wrong method in recruiting, turning over the program every year. You don't get to know any of the guys. You get them a year or two, and then they're out of the program. Sometimes they're in there for 6 months, and then they're gone. And I think that contributes to why the team fades every year at the same time.
Well, think about this, Flood. I mean, how do you build continuity? You know what I'm saying? When you're turning the program over like that and everything. And like I say, it doesn't have nothing to do with the transport portal, because a transfer portal, because you can, like you said, you can add maybe 1 or 2 guys or whatever. But bottom line is you got to build from the foundation. Let me tell you one thing that that I thought about when I was watching All-Star Weekend. Damian Lillard got one offer out of high school to Weber State. One offer. And I'm thinking to myself, I know if we had offered that boy, he'd have rather come to the dirty South than to go to Utah. And that's just, you might say, well, Chris, you can't find where everybody's at. But you got to be looking. You got to be doing something.
But you don't even have to talk about that. I mean, there are people right here in Baton Rouge, right here in New Orleans, right there in Baton Rouge, that you could build the foundation of a hell of a basketball program on.
And Flood, it's something like Coach Gerald Kimball said when he used to be doing the color analyst. He said, "You just can't tell me you just can't find 5 or 6 good basketball players in the country." You say it's not like you're trying to build a football team. And it's just that, it's just that one guy, 1 or 2 guys that can really make the difference. And you got to forgive me, because I came up in the Frankie J era. We were all freshmen together. That's the kind of basketball I'm used to seeing from the Fighting Jaguars. So, I mean, I appreciate.
Well, I know that day is past. I don't even expect that. That's all. That ain't gonna happen again. But the makeup of college basketball won't allow that to happen again. That's not gonna happen.
One of the things, Flood, is even with that though, one of the players was a walk-on. So we got to be.
I mean, I mean, we would, to be honest with you, I mean, statute of limitations run out. We were cheating then, so. I mean, let's be honest about it. I mean, we were cheating then, and now college basketball, everybody cheats. I mean, you know, it's even bigger now. But so we'll never. That's why you have to build a program in a totally different way than you would then. We're not going. Even the Avery Johnson, Kevin Florent, that era of Southern basketball,
right?
You literally have to develop players, and I think the nature of college basketball, the way it is now, people, coaches don't want to invest. They're afraid to develop players, or they can't. Some coaches don't have that ability to develop players. You know, get a kid out of high school and developing him into a good basketball player.
Well, with our AD being a former basketball coach, and he did a good job when he came in, especially with what he had to deal with. I would like to think that he has somebody on the radar, because they got a lot of good young coaches out here. They got a lot of good young coaches out here that's assistants and what have you. And I just think Coach Wood's method, whatever, just ran out at Southern U. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, fellas, I got some scores around the SWAC for you before we get into the SWAC standings last weekend.
Why don't you take a break? Why don't you go to the break first, Pete?
Well, I got Chris on the line. I was going to push us all the way to the top, and then we was going to go into it.
Okay.
All right. We got Alcorn State 75, Jackson State 60. Alcorn State still rolling. Texas Southern 80, Mississippi Valley 62, Alabama A&M 90, Bethune-Cookman 56, Prairie View 82, Pine Bluff 71, and FAMU 60. Alabama State 54. Then on Monday, Texas Southern getting a victory over Pine Bluff 64-59. Bethune-Cookman 70 to Alabama State 65. Florida A&M 77, Alabama A&M 71, and Prairie View 67. Mississippi Valley State 65. And then the SWAC men standing right now, Alcorn State at the top 12-2, with Grambling right there behind them at 11-3. Jackson State 9-5. Southern 9-5, Jackson State 8-6, Alabama A&M 8-7, and then the below 500s, Prairie View 7-8, Texas Southern 7-8, UAPB 6-9, along with Bethune-Cookman and Alabama State all with that 6-9, FAMU 5-10, and Mississippi Valley State at 3-12. So your top four seeds right now will be Alcorn, Grambling, Southern, and Jackson State, but Southern cannot afford to lose some games with Alabama A&M right down their heels, along with Prairie View still in the thick of things, fellas.
Right, and the thing that separates it, can make a difference is the free throw shooting from that standpoint. Look, this is what I've been observing. Bussey is a hell of a coach at Alcorn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy at Grambling is a hell of a coach, and
he's had Southern's number. I'm
telling you. And what I'm seeing a lot of these games and stuff like that, I'm seeing our coach getting out coached. I'm seeing our coach getting out coached.
Do you think we're living by the three too much? Because Southern shoots a lot of threes. Do you think we shoot too many threes?
Well, the reason why you're shooting all these threes, Perry, because you don't have really no inside game. Okay, Lyons is a good player, but Lyons he's such a horrendous free throw shooter. And then the big kid we got, I mean, he's physical and all, but I mean his ball skills are very limited. You know, you getting the ball down low, you finna make a quick post move, and the ball bounce off your foot, go out of bounds. Your hands and everything like that are not it's not clean. And so we have no real inside presence to really talk about operating on. So I'm assuming that's the reason why they're jacking up so many threes. You see it in a different Flood? Do you think we have an inside presence?
Not an inside presence that can score. Not
that's
on a
what
consistent
I'm talking about.
basis.
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, he's a big body. He's a big body, and they try to go inside out, but they do that to try to get the three game going. I think this is just they're trying to play to today's game where they shoot a lot of threes, and but if they're not shooting well, then Southern's going to have issues every time. And if you're going to the basket and you can't hit free throws, you're going to the basket drawing fouls and you can't hit free throws, you're not going to win games.
And that's what's happening to us. And that's what's happening to us right now. I just want to put this little caveat in before we go switching things. You guys ask me, answer me this.
Uh-huh.
Will Coach Dooley pull Bubba if it look like Bubba going to be the MVP of the game? and look, and Coach Barry say, this is the guy. This guy can do it all. Give me Bubba. What y'all think?
Whew, I would love to see some mic. Everybody needs to be mic'd up on that sideline with some cameras because that is an interesting perspective.
Look, I'm listening to the off-script guy, and he's saying Bubba the second-best quarterback. He was a little shaky, but once he got to going, he looked good. And I'm sitting here, but he couldn't start for his own team. Absolutely mind-blowing.
And I think that's interesting because, you know, we weren't allowed to ask any questions in the press conference. So, you know, we didn't get a chance to kind of get into any of that. But it's going to be interesting to see how the scouts evaluate Bubba and how he plays in this game. Because I think if he plays well in this game, then those questions will always linger. They'll always be out there. How does this guy not be the guy for his team?
And don't get it twisted. It wasn't no coincidence or luck that he got chosen. Don't think the guys that chose the players not aware of what's going on in their hometown. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
How weird is this for you guys to think that Bubba's there on this team and looking at Coach Dooley? I mean, does this seem weird to you, or is this something I'm just in my head feeling like?
Well, no, I'm gonna tell y'all, it's interesting. It's an interesting conundrum now because I don't want to revise history. Coach Barry didn't see Bubba as the guy either.
He did not.
He didn't.
Coach Barry didn't see Bubba as the guy either.
He didn't.
Bubba became the guy after Coach Barry left. Remember that now. So neither one of these guys saw Bubba as the guy.
Yeah, Bubba was more Coach Grassi's guy who came in and took over as the offensive coordinator.
Well, he was Coach Barry. I mean, he was Coach Germany's guy originally.
Okay.
Right.
He was Coach Germany's guy originally, and then Coach Grassi came in and he liked Bubba, but Coach Barry was not a Bubba guy. Neither was, and of course, Coach Dooley. For whatever reasons, I don't know what I kind of feel like their logic was the same. They wanted a guy who could get them out of bad plays, and they just didn't see Bubba as that guy. Now, Coach Grassi liked him, and Coach Odoms liked him. Remember, and Bubba, I'm going to tell you, that kid is a trooper, and I like him because he really got some bad breaks. Think about this. Austin Howard gets injured in the South Carolina State game. Bubba's really not even supposed to play, and they stick him out there as a starter against Southern Miss.
He did.
And he looked terrible, but look at the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like a deer caught in headlights. So,
exactly.
I mean, he got, but there have been a bunch of people who have done that. But it just was interesting to me that he never seemed like he got a fair shot. And then even under Coach Rollins, when he played well enough that it shouldn't have been a question of whether Bubba was going to be the starting quarterback coming back. And even in that spring when Coach Dooley took over, Bubba was the best quarterback. We all knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't going to be the guy because he wasn't Coach Dooley's guy. And I guess that's just the way it happens sometimes.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. And here's the thing about it. And evidently something has happened because one thing about it, Coach Dooley said he definitely want to pass the ball this year. He sure didn't have a quarterback last year to do that. So evidently his philosophy has changed from what he wants because obviously he went with McCray because McCray could make plays with his feet or whatever. I don't know. It sure wasn't passing. So for him to say now that he's going to be passing the ball a lot more, then he's not looking for somebody who he started this particular past year. So I'm personally rooting for Bubba. Personally, me, I would love to see him be MVP of the game.
Yeah.
And let that sink in.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. Come on, Bubba.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Just like I said, like Flood just said, the kid deserved it. because he's the epitome of a teammate. He's the epitome of a Southern Jaguar. I love the university. That's why I'm here. So therefore, so
yeah, I get it. I get it. So I'll be there. So hopefully he'll play well, and all the guys from Southern. I want them all to play well because I think that most of them had a good week of practice this week.
And Flood, get that information for us and report next week on about. I had a conversation with Bubba. This is the real skinny of it. We'd like to hear that information.
I already know that. I don't have to have a. I don't really have to.
Now look, Flood, I don't want you to get in trouble and get banded because you've been incriminating South Curry.
No. Well, some things are out there, and some things just have to stay in the locker room. You know how that goes.
All right, guys, I enjoyed it as always, man. Y'all keep it up.
Chris, I'm calling you out every week as long as it's basketball season, so be ready with your radio turned up, all right?
Oh, I'm always listening, and I'm just hearing these horrendous free throw shooting numbers, and I'm just like, you know how Archie Bunker used to do when he'd make a fake noose to hang himself when he'd be talking, he wouldn't want to hear. That's the way I'm doing when I be hearing these free throw numbers. I just can't wrap my mind around.
Well, I have more for you next week, Chris. Thank you for calling in this morning. All right, y'all.
Chris, have a good one.
Let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back. All right, stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
Hello, this is...
We're back. It's the Jaguar Journal. He's Reggie Flood. I'm Perry White.
Yes, sir.
Know about a good love, Flood.
Something special. You got to do it.
Last week over in Houston, Southern getting 3 victories, defeating Alabama State, Jackson State, Texas Southern, leaving the weekend 3-0. They get a midweek game against LSU last Tuesday, falls short. And last night against Florida A&M, they fell short down at West LaBora Stadium in New Orleans for the Andre Dawson Classic. A lot of HBCU stuff going on down in New Orleans this weekend with the Andre Dawson Classic in baseball and the Legacy Bowl today in football. Some good sports going on, showcasing our HBCUs. Southern takes on Alabama State today at 7 p.m. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. Who's this, CJ? Good morning, CJ.
Hey, Perry. Hey, Reggie. How you guys doing?
Good. Good morning.
Good. What's going on, CJ?
All right, good. Look, guys, I just want to see how you guys are thinking about the situation we do have. Chris put up some good points. And, it's really true because a lot of stuff that he said, we saw this, and but we just wasn't in position to do anything about it other than talk about it. But I just like to know from y'all perspective, with the way the things that went down in football as it relates to bubble and the way things are going down in basketball here late in the season, what type of grade you all would give the athletic director for the person who oversees these situations to see how has something that he can do within his power to bring about some changes that will evidently, because the thing's been the same like almost in the last 5 years with the basketball program. So I just want to know what y'all thoughts are as it relates to, is the AD we got doing a good job, or do you think you need to have something you need to be looking at? But I just think it needs some other eyes on things other than what we have going on right now.
What's your thoughts, CJ?
What's my problem?
I said, no. He ready for? I said, what's your thoughts? What you think?
Well, my thoughts is, I think it's time that he can come out openly and say, look, over the last 2 or 3 years, the program, especially in the men's basketball program, but even the women's too, they have been a little successful, but they have never reached what our goals should be as far as winning a SWAC championship, going to the NC2A and so forth and so on. But we end up with the same issues at the end of the season. Things are like kind of faded out and everything. And I was just wondering, when he comes on the show, he don't give but a good report on what he wants to give, but he never talk about the things that need to be really talked about to say what is it he going to do or what is it he got in place that's looking for things to change, so forth and so on. And as far as the other things, it has never been a report from the AD that when he comes on the show, he wants to talk about the things that he wants to talk about, but never cover the things that need to be covered as it relates to the fan base that wants to hear coming from the AD what is happening. We got a lot of new facilities getting ready to be built on Southern campus. Man, the people wants to hear this type of stuff. But we also need to know, how is it other coaches can see what we got on our campus that can be productive for us that the coaches we have didn't see, and nothing is being done about it. And some of it just getting year after year after year. So I know I'm critiquing the AD real hard, but look, he makes some good serious money. He's making over $200,000 a year. So look, he's one of the highest paid AD in the SWAC. So I just wanted to know, why is it that we just getting what we got without no one looking at how things might need to change to produce a better product? That's my thoughts.
All right. Thank you, CJ.
Okay. All right, CJ.
All right. So sounds like CJ saying things are getting lax over the hump. Is that what it sounds like you're saying?
Yeah, that sounds like that. He doesn't think that they getting the best out of the program. And that could be true, or and like I said, I don't give grades on ADs and all of that because there's so many nuances that go into actually running an athletic program that we have no information about. All we basically judge is off of is wins and losses by coaches.
Mm-hmm. Championships.
And championships. And our basketball team, in particular the men's team, the women's team has been okay. They've been in the mix. But our men's team has just not played up to par. And I think probably you'll see a change. Matter of fact, I pretty much, if they don't win the SWAC, you will see a change in the basketball program. Where they'll go, I don't know, but you'll see a change in the basketball program.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it just is what it is. Football, Coach Dooley going into his second year in the program. I think you're probably going to need to see some changes in that, going in a more positive direction. But at the end of the day, as athletic director, your coach went to the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah. You went to the championship. You have your athletic department is finished in the upper half of the conference in all around sports with having three less sports. From what I understand, they're attempting, and we've heard him talk about it before. He's talked about it on our show. He's talked about it on his show. They're trying to bring back golf.
Yeah, and Coach Conyers talked about men's tennis.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. What I think is really happening, because you hear these criticisms from some people. But I think it really becomes an issue of burnout. Like, I think these certain jobs are jobs that only you have a window of opportunity, and then it kind of burns out. The flame, it starts to burn out. So I think Coach Banks has been the AD now about 7 or 8 years. And that's usually, if you look at these jobs, you don't see people in these jobs for 10, 20 years anymore. You usually start to see that spark kind of burn out after between 5 and 8 years. So I think that's what's happening. And I think you also have people who always think that they're always looking for the next guy. Somebody could do this better. Somebody out there, and there may be, or there may not be. I don't know.
Interesting perspective. I mean, I can see it both ways. I mean, even when you look at with Coach Odom, Sandy Pugh, those are two championship winning coaches. It just seemed like people got old with them. It just, like you said, it goes through a cycle. You just kind of reach a point, and people are constantly looking for that next excitement, that energy. And maybe people are not sensing that. Seems like CJ not getting that energy. He's not getting that excitement he wants out of athletics, nor does he seem to be getting the information he wants, that, new facilities coming on board. What are we doing? What do we have? We do the best that we can here on the Jaguar Journal to put information out there and reach out to those who do have information that we could put out to the public as well. But, I mean, I can see it from a lot of different ways for me personally. And, hey, what's your thoughts? Do you think we've reached this point to where, as they say, change is inevitable?
Well, we reached the point where that person is out of the job. For me, like, I honestly believe that. Like, I believe we reached that point when that person is out of the job.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in just changing things for the sake of change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in being in this business, I try to deal with facts. I try to deal with information that I know to be true, and less about my gut reaction about them, not necessarily my gut, but my feelings about things. Because feelings don't make nothing but, feelings are just feelings. And I try to look at it from all of the circumstances. I might not agree with everything that Coach Banks does and Roman does. I may not agree with everything that anybody does. That's just a part of it. But I try to look at it from a point of view of what's the total picture here?
Yeah.
What are you working with? How are we dealing with budgets? How are we dealing with staff? How are we dealing, fundraising, things like that? All of those things go hand in hand. What are the things that he's doing well? What are the things that he isn't doing well? And people have different opinions, but opinions just like everything else. Everybody kind of got one.
Yeah. CJ,
like a lot of things.
Just for you, I'll reach out to him, see if we can get him on the show here soon. We can have some conversations with athletic director over at Southern, Roman Banks, and maybe some other athletic directors around the conference to see what's going on and the things that they're working on, so you can get a kind of an evaluation of where Southern stands and where some other programs outside of just watching the wins and losses.
Well, see, this is the thing. You're not going to ever get a fair conversation. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't invite them on, but you're never going to get a fair conversation out of that.
Yeah.
Because they're always going to sell, especially when you invite another AD into your market, they're always going to try to sell what's best about that program.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So you're never going to get a fair, and Coach Banks is not going to come on here and tell you, well, these are the negative things that are going on, or these are the things that I'm facing. And when he does do that, then you'll know he's out of the door and he's tired.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, you talk about those things. The best thing, you know, we can have him on, and I'll never say not have him on. I always have him on and ask questions about what's going on with the program. But he's going to give you the answers that he wants to give.
Of course,
basically. Yeah, you know, it just is what it is. So, and I'll be honest with you,
mm-hmm.
It's no benefit for us to go in and attack the program or attack Coach Banks or any of that. It's like no benefit to it.
Yeah, it's not.
Like we've seen this play out, and it was detrimental to the program, it was detrimental to the university, and it was detrimental to the Jaguar Journal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no benefit in that. And I'm not saying you don't report the news, but it's no benefit in trying to be antagonistic toward the program or toward the people that you're covering.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, unless it's a story where, you know, it's a controversial story where you need the information. You know?
Yeah.
That's just my opinion about it.
Well, look, thankfully we got a good enough rapport with them where we call over there, they say, hey, we can or we can't, but at least they answer the calls. One thing about it, the calls aren't getting ignored, at least that, huh, Flood?
I mean, we've been in situations, I mean, remember when you came on, when I first came on this show, we couldn't even get in the room. I mean, let's just be real. We couldn't even get in the room. Like, for real. We couldn't, nobody, you know, so it is what it is. I think we'll give the story. I think, you know, we ask the questions, but, you know, we just, that's just what it is. We try to give the story as best as we can and do the best that we can to report what it is and give opinions. They always mad with us. They're always mad with us. But the one thing that consistently that everybody says, even when they're mad with us, they will always say, y'all are fair.
Nothing personal here.
Y'all are fair. And see, that's my point. I can be critical, but always be fair.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care anybody that I deal with, whether it be a Southern or anywhere else, they will always tell you, they be mad with me. They won't speak, all that kind of stuff be walking around, but they are always going to say, well, he is fair, though. That is the truth. He is fair. They are fair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we continue to get access.
Yeah, no witch hunt here. Nobody's out personal attacks. I ain't trying to do it. I just want some information, some updates is all we're looking for, some updates. And one of the updates I got to tell you guys that we got to take a break. So when we come back, we'll get ready to close this thing out, all right? Stay tuned, more to Jaguar Journal. Jaguar Journal. He's Reggie Flood. I'm Harry White.
Yes, sir. He pulled that one out. He pulled that one out from nowhere, boy.
You remember that one? You know something about that one?
I had to go back in the old mental Rolodex to remember that. Shoot.
That's that Tyrone Davis, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I was listening to that on the way to work this morning. You know.
You was feeling it this morning, huh?
I had to get the day started out right, so sometimes it just get me right. I love the blues, but that one right there, I had to go back and find that one. That one had almost slipped by me, but, you know, in the mornings I kind of go through different music, and that one came across me. I said, dang, it's been a minute since I heard that one, so that's my song of the day.
Oh, yeah. Little Tyrone Davis.
You just say you want to be your sugar daddy, that's all. I know it's some out there listening this morning. It's all right. You reached that point in life. It's all right.
Yes, sir.
All right, some good sports going on down in New Orleans today. The Andre Dawson Classic baseball, HBCU baseball going on. Legacy Bowl over at Tulane Stadium going on. Man, if you're into sports, athletics, you're not ready to give up football season, hey, take a trip down to New Orleans. Check out some of the best talent in the country. When you talk about coming from historically black colleges and universities, that'll be showcased at the Legacy Bowl. If you're not able to make it down there, the game will be shown on NFL Network and as well as the Andre Dawson Classic. Are they showing the games on MLB anything, or is it being streamed on anything, Flood? Do you know?
I know yesterday's game was on the MLB Network.
Okay.
The Florida A&M Southern game. I don't know if both games, but I know the Florida A&M Southern game was on MLB Network.
Southern fell short yesterday, giving FAMU their first win of the season. Southern right now 3-2 on the season, losing their last two. Try to get back on track later on this evening with a 7 p.m. game. Other than that, Flood, what's your weekend looking like? As we got about 2 minutes here left.
Oh man, I'm gonna do a little Legacy Bowl. Then I gotta scoop up and head out of town for a quick trip, and then I'm back in, man. You know.
Baton Rouge, they're having 225 Fest today. I'm interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, that sounds like that's gonna be fun, man. Interested when the people want to do something for free, they always call it Jaguar Journal. Then when they get a little budget to advertise, they run to the other side of town. So you know, good luck with that.
So plethora of things going on in South Louisiana. The weather's beautiful. I'm sure a lot of crawfish are going to get ran through today. Some libations, some Delaware punches. Flood say the king cakes are officially over, huh, Flood? Don't bring out no more king cakes.
Well, I mean, you can still eat them, but you know.
Yeah. It's like
that's what you want to do.
Like, you still eating king cake? Yeah, you know, that's what you're going to probably get. Maybe gumbo might be over with, too. So, everybody, I know you're indulging in the crawfish on Fridays. I hope everybody got your fish yesterday. Flood, you get some good catfish yesterday? Or fish period?
I had, man. I actually had flounder yesterday.
Ooh, you got some flounder. What you eat that with, some rice?
Huh?
You had it with some rice?
No, I had it with some beans and rice. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Hey, you can't go wrong with that in Louisiana. That's how I picked up 20 pounds eating rice with everything and some beans. So you know, I love it here. That's why I think the food has me trapped. But the weather is great. So I hope everybody has a great time this weekend. Enjoy yourself if you're down in New Orleans, or if you're in Baton Rouge, or if you're anywhere around in South Louisiana. Enjoy yourself. The weather's great. Spring seems to be upon us right now at this point. Flood, get us up out of here.
The man upstairs says the same. We'll be back at the same time in the same place. Because as always, it's the Jaguar Journal.
According to the U.S. debt clock, in the time you hear this commercial, our nation's debt will go up